What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Barbells and Trails. And this week, I didn't fuck it up. I didn't tell you guys, but someone's back. Welcome, Bailey. Yet again, it's been over a month now since you've last shown your face. And since you've been here, I've had another guest on.
Yes, you have.
Do you even know?
Yeah.
Who?
It was Riley.
Okay. Good job. You realized. So, second semester. I wanted to get it right into this. I've been thinking about this for a while. Second semester of your freshman year of college. You're almost a year out of high school.
Yes.
How's it been?
Rough.
Tell me about it.
I don't know. First semester for me went kind of easily. I thought it would I don't know. It wasn't really hard. I didn't have really any hard classes. Second semester is kicking my ass. Let's say that.
Why is that? What classes in particular?
I don't know. It's not like the classes are necessarily hard besides accounting because numbers and me don't go together. But it's just like the class work, like the workload is a lot more.
Is it kind of like in that class in particular, or just
all of the classes? And it adds up so quick. Like last semester, my English class, I didn't realize you had to have 2 English classes in college. Apparently you do. And my first semester, our only homework was basically our papers. And this semester, he gives us homework every time we have his class, and it's like 5 different assignments in one, and it's due the next class before it starts. Plus all the other homework I have to do. So.
One of those teachers. Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, how's the transition been from high school life to adult life?
It honestly hasn't been that hard. Like, to me, I haven't really seen much different. Like, noticed a lot of difference because the class schedule is the same as it was in high school.
Well, I'm just saying in general, I think there's a stigma built up to graduation and how, like, it's a big leap, blah, blah, blah. But in all reality, not a lot changes. It's just like when people are like, oh, if I hit this goal, if I do this, it's always like, it's going to be amazing. But then it happens and it's pretty mediocre.
I was always like more independent anyway in high school. So like going away from home and shit, like that hasn't really affected me besides like this past semester. Just because I've been so overwhelmed, I wanted to get away from campus. But it wasn't like I haven't. Like, a lot of my friends have experienced, like, homesickness and, like, have wanted to go home. I have not.
Thanks.
Well, I'm just saying. But the transition into, like, school wasn't that hard for me.
Yeah, I don't think school, for you in particular, won't be a big transition, but maybe into full-time work.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, like, even with, like, the school thing and leaving high school, it's not necessarily difficult. But it's just different.
Next year will be, like, a lot different because I'll be actually starting my major next year and have to do clinicals and stuff.
So you might actually be more interested?
It's going to be a lot harder. And it's, like, it's going to push me. But, like, going from high school to your freshman year of college, I don't really see a difference that much. Because, like, especially how Tipton
our school
did their school, my senior year, they changed it. It was like you had your classes every other day. That's how it is in college. So it's the exact same thing for me.
So
it was actually, even though I hated it in high school, it was a lot easier to transition from that into college, being that it was set up the same way.
Well, between that and both of us were used to block scheduling, so we were used to longer classes. Now, if you had a fucking high school where you had 7 classes a day and there were only half-hour classes and going to college, that would be a lot harder.
But like the time of the classes does not affect me. Like it feels like high school.
Yeah, I know
because they're the same times.
True. I know this semester you struggled with sleep a lot more.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah,
I've mentioned it, and I think that's my next book I want to read. Is called Why We Sleep. I brought it up on the podcast, and it's something I would love to actually talk about because there's both a lack of understanding on how important sleep is, but then also such a major lack of understanding. Wait, did I say lack of understanding twice? Okay, there's both a lot of understanding that it's important and a lack of its actual significance. But, yeah, so that was one thing. I want to get Kelvin on here soon and Freddie for different reasons, different topics. Just in general, I feel like there would be fun conversations. Last weekend, I had to help Kelvin basically all day. We ended up being together from basically 9 in the morning to like 6:37 at night.
I did not know this.
And you were kind of aware. But we had a conversation in the car about all sorts of shit because I was helping him pick up a piece of furniture. And I was like, this would be the time I wish I had like a traveling mic and we could have recorded this conversation. Because honestly, this would have made for a really good podcast. Because we talked about anything from obviously his experiences with stuff. We talked about how he looks at the American school system in particular, and how we both are like, yeah, it's pretty fucked up, and just a bunch of stuff, and how we compared that, and then some political stuff comparing the U.S. to other countries, since he has. Real quick, you guys, let me talk to you just for a minute. I'd like you to please, if you've been enjoying the podcast so far, or any of the shorts, or any of the content, please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below if you did subscribe. I love feedback. I love reaching out to you guys. So please subscribe. Please comment. And if you don't want to watch me and listen to it here, go ahead and go check out the Spotify. I'll leave a link down below, and I'll talk to all you guys later. Back to the podcast. A more European view from it and stuff. And yeah, at the same time, he's also very American, and he's in the military and stuff. So it was really cool. But we, like, one of the things we talked about was he's like, the U.S. school system is just, he's like, it's so weird. He's like, college doesn't make sense to me, at least how it's structured here. He's like, it, with like us having to do general shit for almost, depending, maybe 2 years.
It's dumb.
And he's like, it has nothing to do with half the shit you're probably studying or the stuff you need to know. And he's like, why are you taking like calculus as something you have to take in college when you want to be a vet? Like, yeah, maybe some math is important when it comes to like dosage and weight and like doing certain stuff, just kind of like with real estate.
But you don't need fucking calculus.
Exactly. And that was one thing me and him talked about. I was like, well, that's the thing me kind of have differently is like, I didn't go to college, but like I just finished the realtor's course. And I was like, it was one fee, paid it, you study, got your own pace. It's still very significant to just what I need. And yes, have I heard that the course is a lot more exaggerated for the information that you will use on a day-to-day. That's most shit. Like the stuff you're learning in college, like for PTA, you're probably not going to use 90% of it on your day-to-day life as a physical therapist, where it's probably even the same for him when he went to trade school for a mechanic. Like there's a handful of shit that yes, he probably uses daily, but the majority of the shit you learn about in school for specific shit is so like out the window.
And a lot of it you just have to memorize, and then it's you're only memorizing for that test to get a good grade, and then it's gone.
That's what I'm literally trying to do now. I got the course done. I set my goal to get it done in February. Forgot what month it was. And I was able to get it done before the end of February, and now I'm just trying to prep for the exam and the actual licensing test. But that was one thing he talked about. He's like, yeah, that's cool that you can just pay for the course and then just
do that.
Just do that. And I was like, that's sick. And one of the things that I think I might have mentioned this to you that I've heard about, and I want to know more about it, but Jordan Peterson and his daughter, I think, are trying to make a new like online university, and it's only $4,000 for a bachelor's degree.
Sign me up.
It's 95% less than the average college.
That is awesome.
So, and
I think that would help like a lot of people. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think college is for everyone. I don't think they need to go, but I think more
knowledge is important. And I would to be honest, I don't think the idea of college wasn't the thing that discouraged me. I think it was partially the cost, partially
and not knowing what you wanted to do.
That, but also just like the general shit. Like I didn't want to learn all this stuff that I didn't want to learn.
I will be like, I didn't either. Like, I thought taking English again, math, that shit was dumb, but I loved math.
There's just no way around it though. And also for what you want to do, you gotta go do this.
Yeah, like you can't not do the classes that I took. There's a lot of kids that go to college and just take like random classes to get more credits. All of the classes I've taken are specific to what I'm doing that I have to get no matter what. But like, I didn't want to do it because I was like, why do I need math? And why do I need to go through another 2 years of English? Like, what's the point? But I loved math in college. Like, I think I did the best and understood the most this last semester in math. Since elementary, I'm not a math person. I hate math, but that was one of my favorite classes.
That's good. No, yeah, I think that was one of the things that turned me off, and especially with not, like you said, knowing what I wanted to do. And I think, because I'll be honest, the past week I haven't done a lot when it comes to studying. I've been slacking. I've been getting other stuff under control again. When it comes to discipline, I've been trying to get a better sleep routine, actually get up. I made it to the gym every day this week. Today I still got to go, but I'm going to. I still have time. But this is the first week after being back that I did not miss a day because I didn't wake up and go. And I've been like counting my calories and trying to focus the past 2 days. Have definitely been a little bit of a surplus there probably. But I'm like trying to get that under wraps where the last month everything else is kind of out of the window and I was just studying. So now I'm like trying to find that balance of get the workouts in, get the nutrition in, recovery and sleep, but also study and work on the podcast and do stuff and trying to get that back into a some form of balance. And I think that's what this week's going to be a struggle with. But I know I do want to take the test as soon as possible. But I know where I want to be when it comes to like a preparedness for it. And I know I'm not there. I'm not going to just go like YOLO, let's just see what happens and just fail it for no reason. The first time I go, I want to feel that I have a chance of passing it the first time at least.
I want to feel confident.
Yeah. And even though the likelihood of me doing it isn't necessarily significantly high, I want to feel like there is. But
you'll do better too if you like feel like
exactly. Because you won't mess with yourself mentally. Mm-hmm. But no, on the Jordan Peterson thing, I mean, I've talked about his stuff a little bit. He is one person, like, I guess I do and I don't. Like, I don't get why there's such a stigma to him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I know you don't totally follow his shit at all or totally know who he is. I know, like... Yeah, you would recognize him.
And I've seen some of his stuff, but I don't, like,
yeah, you've never, like, read his books. You don't know the, like, up-to-date stuff. But, like, I don't know why, in general, he gets such a bad rap. Or not even a bad rap, but like there's such a polarized view on him. I think it's a political thing. But one of the things I actually sent you was one of his products or something where him and his son are developing a new writing processor. So like a Word document where it helps you write. If you looked at the shit I sent you.
I think I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably help you. Oh, you don't have English right now, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, well, never mind. There, use it. But, well, let's just say, and I got, which I think I brought this up before. Just like 2 weeks ago, I had a guy comment on the Clips channel, which, yeah, I'm sorry, guys, this has been slacking. It hasn't had anything in like 3 weeks posted on there. I need to, like, the channel itself, the regular channel is going well. And I'm low-key now thinking, like, should I have just been posting the clips on this channel the whole time and just doing it all at once, like all in one? But it's like I don't know the best way. Like obviously the shorts are helping, but I feel like especially since like clips can be very short. Yeah, sometimes they can get some because they'll overlap with the algorithm with like the actual podcast posts, where the shorts don't. They're their own thing, where if I just post a clip, that affects how both the podcast episodes and the clips do, where the shorts are like their own segment. That's why I'm not afraid of posting those. I'm afraid of posting clips. So I need to get that back up and running. But the very first video I posted was about Graham Hancock and the like Ancient Apocalypse series that he did on Netflix, which I know you haven't watched.
I watched the short, but I didn't watch
yeah, you didn't watch the series, but and I'm like, I'm confused how that video did so well and is still getting views. Like, in general, it was the first video on a brand new channel, and at the time it got almost the most views out of anything I've posted before I started posting shorts. And I was like, what the hell? And this guy posted like 6 weeks ago, like more like 7 days ago now, where he made a big old post, and I didn't even notice because I hadn't been on the channel in a minute, and I looked, and he was like, this is a problem with kids nowadays. They're uneducated and doing analysis about stuff they don't understand. Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson are like basically lunatics in the industry. I can't believe this kid gets his information from Joe Rogan. That's like laughable in itself. Blah, 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 like all this shit. And I'm just like, whoa, okay. And then I responded. I wanted to say some shit because I was kind of pissed, I'll be honest. And he's like, well, I was like, I don't know how you expect us to know everything. Like, it's the whole point that this theory allows for other interpretations. And then he's like, yeah, I'm not saying we know everything, but there's a difference between evidence and not having evidence. And just because we don't know everything doesn't mean the flat earth theory is real or that gremlins cause cancer, is what he said. and I was just like, what the fuck? And I was just like, all right, professor, thanks for teaching me a lesson, and commented back at him, and he never responded. But I was just like, that's another thing with like Joe Rogan in particular and those people. I don't know why people get so hateful. Like, and I don't know if part of it is because I've listened to so much of Joe Rogan that I have like, I guess, an appreciation for him. Mm-hmm. But it's just, because I don't know. I think part of it is because I've listened to it so much. I kind of know him as a person. And I feel like you do that a little bit with a podcast more than other shit. And it's like back in the day, if you were just watching him on Fear Factor or just seeing his stand-up, you wouldn't get to know him the same as you would if you listened to 300 episodes of his podcast. Because, I mean, on average, I'll be honest, probably every week I probably listen to him for 9 to 10 hours a week. So, I mean, that adds up. Mm-hmm. And, but just like with, people get so hateful about him and like Graham Hancock, and then like they say, obviously there's no evidence or whatever. But it's like, have you ever actually listened to these guys completely like talk through their stuff? It's like, to me, it makes sense, and they do point towards some evidence, but it's just nothing that's been heavily studied because it's like taboo in the archaeologist like sphere, I guess.
Yeah.
And
I think people just like to point out like anything negative. They like to just.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't like to try being a negative person, but I have to admit that guy's comment did kind of heat me, because I'm just like, why does it matter that I made this video? I was like, obviously this video got like 250 views. Why the hell are you commenting this bullshit at me and saying like you can tell because of this kid's like lack of education? It's like, yeah, I'm not educated. I listened to like 2 podcasts and I watched the Netflix series. There's my education. I'm not saying I'm a fucking scientist that studied this shit and like putting my opinion on it. It's just like an everyday person being interested in that scenario. But it was just like so random that comment was just like out of nowhere. And I'm like, what the hell? And that's not the first, like, especially on that video, like hateful comment I've got about the whole thing. And I'm like, I don't understand why this makes like people so like angry and like polarized. like between Joe Rogan, where he's like, if you're getting your information from the Joe Rogan show, that's like mistake number one. Like, that's not his exact words, but I'm paraphrasing. And I'm like, the dude does have scientists and authors and writers on. Like, they're not, yeah, does he also have MMA fighters? Yes, but that doesn't mean they're also idiots either. Yeah. Does he have comedians? Does he smoke pot, drink, and take mushrooms on the podcast too? Yeah, but not every single one. And it's like, even those episodes can both be entertaining and educational in different ways, more on like the human condition than archaeology. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know why people like him or like Jordan Peterson get such a bad stigma when in all reality they're pretty kind, positive people that want, like, they don't like hate, but then everybody just shoves that their direction. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's your take on Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson?
Sorry, I heard that. I don't know. I mean, for the things I've seen, I wouldn't say anything negative about them. I think from the things I see, they seem like pretty stand-up guys, like trying to like be positive about when there's so much negativity in the world and try to educate people, even though they might not have all the answers. They still voice their opinion and hope people listen. Like,
I mean, and in general, it's just the amount of, it's also partially my algorithm on Instagram, but it's like I see so many segments and snippets from episodes that I know I've never seen of like him with conversations, and it's like a quote from him and the shit he says. It's like, how could you ever think just from like these quotes alone that you think this guy's terrible? And I think part of it is that he promotes a very masculine appearance. That's one reason in particular why the left doesn't like him, especially the extreme left. Mm-hmm. And then they're the ones that voice their opinions. And because they think, like, now, I've seen other people say it, that like fitness and health is somehow becoming a right-wing thing. Because whatever, which I guess in a way I see what they're saying, because if it's going to be anybody that's probably super fat and lazy, is probably the people that want socialism, where they don't have to work for their shit. But then at the same time, it's just like, how are you bringing health into politics? Yeah. And so
everything, they try to make everything political.
Like, I know, literally. Especially nowadays. It's so bad. And so what I'm seeing, stuff like that, it's just like the dude's promoting people to live a healthier, better life for themselves and the people around them. How the hell are you trying to make that negative? And yeah, he's a man and he exercises and he's big and he talks about testosterone and mental fortitude and like he supports like young men dealing with depression and like getting through shit because he's been around twice as long as I have. Like, he's 55. Like, he has experiences. He's had his like struggles and hardships, and he relates that to men coming up that haven't, and hearing that helps. Yeah. I know it's helped me. And it's like, how the hell is that bad? And I don't know if in some instances, and I don't know if that's partially the difference of like a male and female thing, where like for a man, we, especially in our 20s, it's like there's so much we have jumbled up in our heads of like what we want to do, and for us, like, a purpose in life is, I think, very important, where I don't know if it's quite the same in a male or a female agenda. Not agenda, but you know what I mean? Like, that, like, we struggle more than people realize, especially at a young age, and we're almost our own worst enemy, and it's hard to dig yourself out of that sometimes, where hearing that someone else's story about going through it kind of helps, like, alleviate that, like, burden and figure it out, where I feel like women don't have that as much, that, like, self, like, afflicting, like, agony. Like, I feel
there is definitely a huge difference between like a young man and like a woman going through that. Like, like that age. I don't know how I want to explain this, but like
I think, well, I'll be honest, I think I know what you're saying, because I've seen stuff where people are like, which kind of makes sense, and some people might hate what I'm about to say, but how they say like a woman's prime is more from like their 20s to 30s, like from like 18 to mid 30s, and a guy's isn't until like their 30s to 50s, and like that's where men really hit their value, because they've had time to work on a career and make money and find themselves and get into whatever it is, that they're more valuable later in life than a woman is, in a way. And like, because just what they're able to provide, like a 20-year-old's, and that's kind of what I think I kind of talked on last week's podcast, like most women nowadays are dating like,
a lot
especially
older.
And part of that is that, because like a 20-year-old, I mean, I would say I'm better than some, but like a 20-year-old isn't financially stable, doesn't know what he's doing. Most are possibly in college or barely like working or figuring shit out, that they're the least valuable they could be probably is in their early 20s as a person. Where, so that like hurts, because like a woman comes out of the gate like, bitch, I'm hot shit. Like, like, you know what I mean? And they're just there, where a guy has to build to that and work their way up, where it gets the opposite struggle for a woman. You know what I mean? For most, I'm not saying all.
I would say,
but the majority.
yeah. I don't know. I think
that's why.
I think there's a lot of things that men struggle with a lot more than women. And granted, like, women can still struggle with it, like their identity and like other stuff like you were mentioning. But I think like women get more attention, and like the men are just like.
Real quick, you guys, let me talk to you just for a minute. I'd like you to please, if you've been enjoying the podcast so far, or any of the shorts or any of the content, please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below if you did subscribe. I love feedback. I love reaching out to you guys. So please subscribe. Please comment. And if you don't want to watch me and listen to it here, go ahead and go check out the Spotify. I'll leave a link down below, and I'll talk to all you guys later. Back to the podcast.
And they're over here. They'll figure it out. And then like everybody just gives attention to the woman and like, oh, what do you need? How are you feeling?
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, like last night we watched the Chris Rock live special, which is the first time that's ever been done. I think technically, what's his name? Oh no. Oh, another comedian did it like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, but he did it on his own website. I'm blanking on his name, but this was the first time ever to be on like Netflix and a live stand-up show, all this stuff. It was really good, but one of the things he talked about was how one of the problems with addictions in America, he'd said the biggest addiction in America nowadays is attention. And it's like, so true. And I can't deny it's what I'm doing now. I mean, like, I've been posting shorts the past month, and the whole thing is I'm trying to get more attention, and it worked. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he's not wrong in that sense. It just, I think, is having more of an effect on society than I think anybody thought originally. And especially in the younger culture, because it's like that's what's developing. It's like most of these people like Chris Rock, they're seeing it all, but they've already dealt with everything. Like, they've been through it all, and then they're seeing all the issues. And it's like, you're still learning in your 20s so much that we don't have the outside perspective.
Yeah.
Half the time. And so we won't see the effects of this for another 10, 15 years. And then even probably people in our generation will be like, oh shit, like I see it now. It's like, this is what those old fucks were saying 10 years ago. It's like, I was a fucking idiot. Like, you know what I mean? Luckily, I think you and me are kind of on the sideline of that more than most. But we still are. I mean, you were basically on TikTok all morning. But in general, what did you think of his special?
I thought he hit on like some good like major points of like different things in society that we're going through, but like he made it fun. And but he made it like, obviously that's what he's supposed to, like, his job, but I think it was really good.
No, I thought it was good. I really did. It was Chris Rock's stand-up, I think this is the first time I've actually sat through and watched one. But he broke a lot down and talked about very major stuff in politics and the culture now, which is good because sometimes some comedians don't. And it works, but if you can make it work well, it goes well, especially when it deals with today's culture. And I thought he did that really well. And then not only that, I know he's been working on this for over a year, but the last 10 minutes of the show being all about
I was kind of
Will
shocked,
Smith.
but like then I was like, I think he needed to do that.
Oh yeah, he deserved it. And
Yeah,
he was just on like one of the biggest stages ever. Like I'm pretty sure this was announced like over a month ago that this was happening last night. I just kind of forgot, and then it happened to be on, and I saw it like Friday, and I was like, oh shit, that's Saturday, cool, and I watched it, and it was cool because he finally, in a way, in the public eye, got his revenge. Because people knew and had said he's been talking about this, and he almost had this in his stand-up immediately after. But he's the type of comedian, especially for something like that, that you don't bring your phones into the show because he does not want that bit to leak because he knows that it's such a thing. So like last night was the first time that literally millions of people got the chance to see it, and it was in the public eye. So this might be the first time that like Will Smith and them are seeing it or hearing about it. And he went in on him pretty hard, but everything he said was pretty damn true. It really was.
Especially, and then that they said in the after show that the Oscars is literally next week.
And
it was like the perfect timing, almost a year after it happened.
Definitely. And it was just like, he just decided to call fucking Will a bitch.
It's hard
and all
to think
this
that
stuff.
it's been a year.
Yeah, no.
Since that happened.
I know.
Like, it does not feel like it.
It doesn't feel like it's been a year.
No.
But yeah, no, it was pretty wild, but it was cool that he brought it up, and I honestly kind of forgot about it, like, during it, and then he said something, and I was like, oh, yeah.
It was just, like, the end when he, like, dropped, like, slammed the mic down. That was fun.
I wasn't thinking about it time-wise, but as soon as he dropped his mic, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That this is his closer, for sure. But it was really good. But also, I think, what's today? The 5th? 2 weeks from now, I think it's on the 16th, is when Bert releases his new special. So he releases his new special since I think his last one was 2020. So it's been a few years. Tom Segura is going to be releasing one sometime this year, and it's going to be on Netflix, I'm pretty sure, because he's had to deal with Netflix for 10 years now, pretty much. He was on Netflix early as a comedian. So can't wait to see whatever the hell he comes up with that, because I love Tom Segura. He's probably, I'll be honest, he's probably my like top comedian. Like his stand up in particular gets me going. I love Bert for a whole different reason. I love
his
Tom's
laugh. I like
his laugh is ridiculous.
I die just because of his laugh.
But Tom's attitude is what's hilarious, where he just so hateful. The shit he says, I love it. It's like, I can get behind that a little bit. Like, I'm a pretty nice person, but then at the same time, I think all of us say a lot of shit in our head.
Yeah,
and he says
it out loud.
that we all want to say, and that's what's amazing. Because it's like, I try to be a very kind, open, forgiving person for the most part. But at the same time, there's shit that pisses me off. There's shit that pisses everybody off. At one time the other day, Brian tried telling me something at work, and he was like, I think you have anger issues. And I was like, maybe? you might be onto something, but I'm not as bad as the rest of my family. I was like, I'm like the dumbed down version. Mine like
you're
sits,
like more calm and collected version.
It lets out behind closed doors. Like
I would say I'm the same.
Mine like builds.
I'm pretty feisty.
But then it's like when no one's around, I'll be like, did you see what the fuck that bitch did? Like that was the dumbest fucking
I think
shit.
that's like I think with us,
I think most people do that, but I think you, me in particular, that's how we
because of how we grew up. Like the rest of our family were like,
well,
we were like, oh shit, we can't do that.
No, we have the like anger side, the temper from our dad's side.
Oh, for sure.
But we have the non-confliction side from our mom.
Yeah, and they have like the attitude.
And they have the attitude.
They have
That's what I'm saying.
They sneak that into their little combo.
So you get that, and then not wanting to deal with conflict into that mix. So we never say anything out loud unless it's like really,
all in
really
my head.
bad.
It's actually all on my face.
It's on your face. Me, I just sit there and I'm like.
It depends. Sometimes I can really hide it. Other times, if I want you to know, I will for sure show you.
Yeah, I just wish you said it in your words sometimes. And but no, he said that, and I was like, yeah, maybe. Like, there's a chance. Like, I'm not saying who doesn't, right? But I was like, I'm still not bad. Like, it's just like I keep it away from people. I don't bring it out in front of everybody by any means.
I try not to.
I do it to some. Like, I'll bring it to him or Freddie or you, and I'll say some shit. But I never say it to the people.
Yeah, I don't.
Because half the time it's not even like. Sometimes it's not even shit I really mean. It's just like the stuff you want to get out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, not in every case, but in some. It's like I would never say this to the person.
But in this moment,
or about whatever situation. Mm-hmm. It's burning a bridge somewhere in my mind. Mm-hmm. That happens. But no, so I'm excited to see his special. Like, I think also Joe has one. He recorded one at the end of last year. I don't think he knows where he's going to put it. His last ones, I think, have been on Netflix. But out of any major comedian today, I don't know if he'll put it there. I think he might go off platform and maybe even post it on YouTube. Because he likes the idea of being able to control it yourself and not have someone else say, like, you can't say this or whatever. I mean, what Andrew Schultz did, like his was supposed to be on a platform. We don't know who. And they were telling him to cut out certain jokes, and he said no. So he bought it back from whoever, and then went and did it himself and made way more than he probably would have at Netflix. Mm-hmm. Or, well, we don't know where it is, but it might have been Netflix. And not only that, but The Machine, Bert's new movie. I'm super excited because I think this is probably the first real comedy movie in a hot minute. I mean, when was the last like comedy movie you can think of that came out? The best one I can think of is Jackass 4. Jackass Forever. But it's not it's not even like it's comedy, but it's not comedy.
Yeah.
It's different. It's physical comedy. It's not like there hasn't been one in a while where, like, I remember in the 2010s and beforehand you had like Hangover and Get Hard and like other Kevin Hart movies or like those Tropic Thunder, like all these crazy comedy movies. So I'm excited because I think it'll be one hilarious, and it comes out on my birthday weekend, so gonna go watch that on my birthday. But I'm excited for that one. And then I know that him and Tom are making another movie, and I think it's called like Fat Astronauts. And it's the same writers as Tropic Thunder. So you already know that it's going to be great. But I don't know when it's supposed to come out. I don't even know if they're done filming it. Like, I don't know where it is in the process. I just know they've talked about it. And I'm kind of like, oh, I hope it comes out soon and not like 2 years from now. Because it's just so disappointing when you got to wait. Like, it's like Avatar. We watched a new one. No, it's only been 2 months. So it's like, I still got to wait another... How many?
2 years. Isn't that what they said? They
22 months
in between.
I still gotta wait 22 months. Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. Like 2 years, man. It's like GTA 6.
I mean, like, I get you. It takes time to film and do all that, but at the same time,
you want it. They want to try building a hype.
I know.
But it's like,
but then it's also, I feel like you want to build a hype, but then at one point it's like people are gonna forget about it.
2 years, I think, is okay.
Not 10.
We'll see. But speaking of movies, we've been to the movie theater twice the past 2 days.
Since I've been home.
Yeah, I know, right? You got home and then we're like, movies? You're like, yeah, okay. So we went and saw Creed 3. Mm-hmm. What did you think of that movie?
I agree with you. Fight movies really aren't like my thing because they all have the same.
Yeah, and I guess you could say the same for like superhero movies too.
Well, that's true.
But
I don't know. It wasn't bad, but it didn't start out good for me. Like, when it started, the CGI was real bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. So that caught me off guard, and it did get better, but I probably could have waited until and like watched it somewhere else and not went to the theaters to watch it.
I can agree to that statement in particular. Like, it was good. I didn't watch the second one. The first one was kind of good.
The first one was pretty good, yeah.
I don't even know the plot of the second one, but
Me neither.
I might have watched the second one actually.
I might have seen part of it.
But it's like this one, I think the story was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like you said, like this is the first like fighting movie, like boxing movie that I've seen CGI in heavily.
Yeah.
And that it was noticeable.
It wasn't that noticeable in the first one.
I don't
think there was much in the first one.
That's what I'm saying. I think they used more choreography, which they did in all the Rocky movies. Like, they actually filmed that shit and they made it work. And I think that's also...
And this was the first one that he wasn't in it.
Stallone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I that did throw me off.
Which, did you notice, was he a producer of this one? Like he was for the other ones?
I have a feeling he would have to be, but I don't know. Maybe that's why it's different.
Yeah.
But no, the plot was really good. It was actually really sad. Like, there was definitely parts of the movie I was like,
shit.
Wow. Yeah. Like, this is rough. Like, but it was a good movie. It was good. I think it could have been better. The plot was predictable.
I feel like nowadays most shit is predictable, but
yeah, because especially for a fighting movie though, like, it's shit you can just, like, it's been done before, you know what I mean? So, like, there's not much new shit you can come out with. Like, Avatar is on the cusp where people are like, I've seen people be like, the new one is almost the same as I can't even remember, but like, he even took stuff from like Titanic, like with the sinking ship, and they're like, we've seen this shit before. Like, why is it here? Like, why do we need 20 minutes of people being trapped in a sinking object in water? James Cameron, you've done it before. Come on, man. And so it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, I feel like out of the whole movie, I think that bit was probably the most
controversial.
No, not even controversial, but most unneeded.
That's what I was looking for. Unneeded.
Yeah, like, it was unnecessary. It was just kind of like, why were you guys in the boat?
Yeah.
To begin with, like, it's been sinking. And but no, Creed was good. But then not only that, but last night we went and watched Ant-Man Quantumania.
I liked it. It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. But it was still good.
Ant-Man Quantumania is definitely, I wouldn't say it's my favorite Marvel movie.
No.
But it provided some different like,
more
what's the word? It brought in some different characteristics of Marvel. Like, it had shit that other Marvel movies haven't had.
Yeah.
So it did change it up, but at the same time, it reminded me of Star Wars in a tiny universe. You know what I mean? Like, it gave me Star Wars vibes.
Like Star Wars and what's that other movie last night that I was thinking of that it kind of reminded me of?
Well, you gave me a Marvel Star Wars miniature version.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of weird. And it was also funny that we watched two major blockbuster movies with the same antagonist actor. So that's interesting. I don't know his name, though, off the top of my head. Really good actor, though. And I don't know what else he's been in.
I have no idea.
He plays roles really well. And I think in general it was good. Like, spoiler alert for anything we might say. But, like, the whole King thing, like, I wasn't sure how it was going to end. That I couldn't predict. And there was shit that kept coming that I didn't know. And I think some people would be like, well, if you should know, because if we would have watched, like, Loki and this, like, King's been brought up. Like, he is a character that's been brought up in other shit. But I can't be bothered to watch
I haven't watched
8 TV shows.
All those TV shows. There's a couple of the movies that I haven't watched. Like, The Hawkeye and Falcon.
That's a TV show.
Oh, I thought they had.
No.
What's the movie?
There isn't one. But like I think one movie that would have something to do with this one a little bit was the Doctor Strange movie. The last one.
We haven't.
I didn't watch
that one.
But then also to watch that one and fully understand it, you got to watch WandaVision. It's like I haven't watched that. Like so.
Are they still going? Like are they still making seasons for WandaVision, Loki?
Loki just came out with a new season. It started on
Hawkeye
WandaVision.
And
I don't think so.
Or whatever.
I don't know. But it was simpler with movies. Now there's just so much.
It's hard to keep track. It's hard to like.
And I love lore and all this extra shit.
Stay up and shit.
But to really stay up on it, fuck.
There's not enough time in the day.
No, there's other stuff to do. I say that and I'm rewatching one of my childhood TV shows right now. But you know what I mean? Like this, it's just a lot. It's like seeing, like even if they release 3-4 big movies a year, like that's enough to keep shit rolling. But then also to do that plus 3 series of different TV shows and like bringing in 20 new characters between like outside of the movie universe side of it.
Yeah.
It's like, holy fuck, I can't keep up on all this shit. It's just too much. Like I think now just because of the TV shows too, it's added so many more hours of the entire
They need to take it back to
Marvel
being like
universe.
Simplistic.
That's not gonna happen. It's just gonna keep expanding.
I mean, I guess, but it was a lot easier when it was more simplistic.
Oh no shit. But they've also made more money now.
Well, yeah.
The one movie that I am looking forward to is the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Same.
They've kept that pretty simplistic. Yes. Guardians of the Galaxy is like one of the last ones that's been around for years.
I have a feeling that
people are dead. It's most likely going to be Rocket.
Rocket dies.
And possibly Drax. People have also said Drax.
Because of the one scene a couple of the scenes in the trailer, it just like I have a feeling that especially Rocket
I'm
dies.
a nerd and I've watched movie like breakdowns of shit. And
I know.
Yeah, don't judge me. But I watched a video and they were talking about how if you look at the title card for all the Guardians of the Galaxies, like Guardian Galaxy Volume 1 and the color scheme, they line up with specific characters that die. So I can't remember what the first one is. I think it's Groot. And he dies. Like the color scheme for the first one.
Isn't this next one red?
It's had 2 color schemes. So people think it could both... I can't remember what the colors were, but like the second one was like blue and red and something. Yondu died.
Mm-hmm.
And then now this one, for original, it was like... I can't remember the colors, but I think the one now is like gray and yellow and something. Or gray and like a reddish. And they think like Drax. And then they also had one that they think could be Rocket. And also with how the plot kind of looks, it's obvious someone dies.
Mm-hmm.
And most likely, also with this one having to do with Rocket's background and history, the likelihood of it also being him Rocket is really high. So it's both. If it's someone else, it's gonna be really shocking. Be
a shock.
And
then also the fact that they play off of like, it sounds like you have more in common with my sister.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
That better not happen.
It's not.
That's gonna get some people angry.
They're definitely gonna end up back together. But Gamora,
what if one of them die?
Nah, not again. We already had Gamora die once. They're not gonna kill her again. Hope not. I mean, she's been now in 4 out of the 5 largest movies ever. That woman has made bank.
Oh yeah. But she's a good actress.
She is. Zoe Saldana, right?
I don't know what her last name is.
I think I'm close, but who knows? Yeah, so you just said that, we mentioned that I've been watching a TV show. I've been rewatching Avatar, The Last Airbender. Real child of me. But, like, I'll be honest, that show had a lot to do with my childhood.
Oh, yeah.
Why'd you say it like that?
I'm just saying you used to watch it a lot.
Actually not.
I
did, but didn't. You know what I mean? The main time we watched it was actually after we got off school. At Mom's work. But no, I'm rewatching it because I never watched the second series. And they're about to make a third one. So I'm kind of intrigued. So I thought I'd rewatch it. And then also, like, I remember as a kid, like, being in elementary school, like, making games in my head as if I was the Avatar. And imagining myself doing shit with it and doing stuff.
I think I know this. I think I've probably, like, witnessed you, like, playing like that or something.
Most of the time I do it in my head.
Or you've told me, because that seems very familiar.
Oh, I had a lot.
It'd be cool.
There was like 3-4 years in my life that I remember just making up my own universes in my head and not paying attention in school.
Sounds like you.
Wow, thanks. But I remember one where I'm trying to think some of the stuff I did in my head just to like pass the time. But one was definitely like Avatar things. I had one where it wasn't only Avatar powers, but I had pets that could bend specific elements. I was like, that's fucking cool. I think I had one where I had dragons too, which dragons were my thing as a kid.
Yeah,
like I was into that.
Narnia and not Narnia. That's what's the
old Aragon movie.
That's the one.
Yeah, I need to read those books. Honestly, I feel like I'd love them. But
you and our old babysitter's daughter were huge dragon fans.
Right, they're fucking cool.
I didn't say they weren't.
Yeah, exactly. Don't hate on me. I was 8, okay? But I did that. I remember playing a game where I saw myself as like a robot and I could create tiny armies inside of myself. So like I remember literally sitting there in class imagining a battlefield across the floor of like little army men type things practically, and that I produced the army myself. And
from what, your mind?
For me, like I was a mechanical being in my head, but like I literally sit there. There's like an army set up on like, let's say in my head, like on the PC sit over there at the desk, and they have like artillery, like all this shit in my head, and I'd be like, all right, I gotta release my troops. And so I'd literally sit there in my head and be like, my feet literally open up like fucking boats and they march out of my legs. Or I'd sit there with my hand like this. And
imagine getting called on in class and you're like, what? And you accidentally like say something about your plot or something.
I would never do that. I'm not that stupid. But I would imagine like a plane taking off of my hand and then like going to fight. I think I even had one where in my head I was like, my feet are almost... Real quick, you guys, let me talk to you just for a minute. I'd like you to please, if you've been enjoying the podcast so far, or any of the shorts or any of the content, please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below if you did subscribe. I love feedback. I love reaching out to you guys. So please subscribe. Please comment. And if you don't want to watch me and listen to it here, go ahead and go check out the Spotify. I'll leave a link down below, and I'll talk to all you guys later. Back to the podcast. It's like trampolines, pads, and I had soldiers coming up and literally launching off of my hands and parachuting into the battle. I entertained myself a lot as a child.
Very creative.
Thank you. Someone's finally noticed. Don't look at the YouTube videos because they're not very creative. But God. No, yeah. I mean, I love those. I love those things. I love shit with lore and stuff like that. That's also, and like people with powers and shit. I find that shit fucking cool. Superheroes are overrated. I like shit that's not as normal. So like Avatar, cool. Like there's a history behind it, and like these people studied different martial art types to create.
Which one's your favorite element?
Probably water.
That's what I was gonna
earth.
Say. Mine was gonna be water or air.
Air's up there. Or fire. Just all.
I don't know all of them. But I think I would probably want like water. I'd want her healing powers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so like between that and I'm trying to think of other stuff. For like Attack on Titan, like I find that cool. Because it's obviously not normal. Like it's not a normal idea for a show. But when you think about it, I find it cool. Because it's like, what a weird ability, but it's also badass as fuck. Yeah. So in my head, I'm like, that's cool as fuck. And like as a kid, probably what terrified me a little bit as a child if I watched that. But like, like I'm into it now. So like younger me would be like,
you got
whoa.
scared a lot when we were kids. Like
We went over this, or I have on the podcast.
No.
But no, yeah, no, I did not as bad as you. Different reasons.
not as bad as me.
You hated horror movies. I didn't hate horror movies. I hated
movies. I hated horror movies, but like you were just scared about like weird things.
Death.
I was like,
End of the world, everyone dying.
well, that's scary.
Ending in the black abyss.
But like, stare into the abyss.
It was rational enough. Okay.
What
Someone reinsured me on my shorts because I posted one about me being scared of death, and they're like, "That's not irrational."
It's not irrational.
Well,
pretty much everybody is scared of death.
Yeah, but when you're having panic attacks at 8 because you watched a World of the End, like End of the World movie, and you're freaking out, yeah, it's a little irrational.
Well,
exactly. So shush
but
it.
like your fears of like, oh my god,
Because I was scared of dying.
Spot.
I was scared of getting cancer and dying. I was scared of a fever killing me. I was scared of anything killing me. I can't remember the word. I've looked this up. Whatever.
It's still shocking to me that you never told anyone.
I didn't understand it at the time. I would just get panic attacks, and like my heart rate would go to the roof. Like literally, do you not remember this? Like I literally had to leave the room one time. You and Dad were watching World at War.
I don't remember watching that movie.
War of the Worlds or some shit. The one with fucking Tom Cruise, and it freaked me out so much. This was at the house when we experienced the Indiana earthquake, and I literally went into Dad's office with the little TV and put on Christmas movies because it was the only way I felt like I could get my happiness back.
I don't remember that because I would have been like 4 or 5.
You weren't that young. You might have been actually.
Yeah, I was young. I was when we lived at Joe's. I was in kindergarten and first grade.
But I straight up walked out of the room and went and started watching Christmas movies because I was freaking out.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah. See, you don't know everything about me.
Okay.
But no, like I found like those kind of shows really cool because I found like when I'm also watching something like that and you can tell someone has put in a lot of time and effort to build out this whole story. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why like Harry Potter I got really into because it wasn't just like one book and this is it. Like
we never watched those when I was home.
You're right, but it's not the important thing right now.
I'll watch one of them tonight.
But you know what I mean? Like this one person, this author, built this entire universe in these pages.
I don't know how they do that.
That's what I find fascinating.
Like I could never.
That's why I think I also kind of like Attack on Titan because it's made from a comic book. Like the book just finished like 2 years ago, and he's been writing. He released a chapter every month for like 12 years, and so it's like him. Like I think that's the thing that I get into it so much is because I've seen this stuff as like this person literally had to come up with this idea and then elaborate and create these cultures and all this stuff. Like that's what I find so cool. If it's just the show itself and like the idea like that is kind of whatever. It's like, oh, cool kid that can control the elements. That in itself is kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then them also like building this entire world and history around that plot and then keep adding to it and then making more shows. That's what's cool. And I think that's one reason why like I want to watch the new ones because it's supposed to be 70 years in the future from the end of this series. And like there's actual like cities and like the whole world has changed from how like you knew it as a kid watching it. I never watched that shit. So like I've seen it like from clips or whatever, but I've never actually watched the show to know it. But it's like someone having that ability just to come up with that idea and then build everything around it. It's awesome. That's why like Lord of the Rings is super cool too. Because it's not like he was just like, yeah, like there's this ring, there's elves and these little short guys with big ass feet and wizards and shit. But then there's also this giant map I created. These fuckers live here. The elves live here. These guys can speak this like, and then create these languages and like all this other stuff to incorporate and make the story more like authentic. I think that is what fascinates me with certain shit. Like that's why like fantasy books and movies catch my attention. I think sometimes more than nonfiction books. Not saying I'm not fascinated by some of those, but I think that's why, is because it's completely in the imagination of the person. Like me sitting here and explaining to you the games I would play as a kid, you're sitting there like, this dude's crazy.
I wasn't thinking that. I mean, I used to imagine shit too.
Yeah, but were you sitting there I imagine myself as a fucking, at one point, a cyborg with a bionic arm cannon and shit. like you don't understand the shit that ran through my head in elementary school just to get through school. And so so that's why I think I can do that to an extent in my head, that when I also see someone make it so intriguing, I find it so cool and fascinating. Yeah. I've used the same words like 4 times, but you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why, like, even growing up, you weren't as into that shit because you didn't see it the same way I saw it. And so that's why, like, Attack on Titan and Avatar, you're kind of like, yeah, they're good, but you're just kind of like, eh. I'm saying,
I like our fantasy books.
Yeah, so that's why I don't get it. Like, there's one series that you're like, I love these.
And I love Harry Potter. And I liked Percy Jackson.
You never read them.
I liked the movies.
You saw 2 and they were shit.
The first one wasn't bad.
Yes, they are. You've never read the books, so you can't say anything. The books, way better.
Okay, probably, but for me, just watching the movies, I didn't think the movies were that bad, and they were fascinating to me.
Just like you saying that the last Airbender movie was good. It's not good.
It was good when I was a kid. I can't remember the last time I watched it.
Yeah, but it's like you go back and watch the show. There's so much more to the show than there is the movie.
Well, they can't fit all that into one movie.
That's the problem, but also in that movie in particular, they just cut out a lot of shit from. Like,
I don't even remember how the movie goes. I just remember certain clips of the movie in my head that will pull it. Like,
also in the movie, everyone's white.
Yeah,
there's one problem, but
I just remember
it just wasn't done well. They're making a new one, by the way. So Netflix, I think, owns the rights to Avatar, maybe. And they're recreating the show, but they're doing live action. So it's going to be like The Mandalorian, but like a full TV show remake of it.
That'd be cool.
Exactly. That might actually be badass. And they've been talking about it, I think, for like 2 years, and they've been working on things, but I don't know when it's supposed to release. So whenever that starts, I'll be sick. And that's one reason why I also wanted to kind of rewatch, because I'm like, I know eventually stuff's going to happen, so I kind of wanted to refresh.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if they make a new TV show live action and they do well and it's an actual show, so it's not like you're not trying to condense a lot of shit as much as making like a movie to fit an entire season of a show, that will be better. Like, imagine, like, they couldn't have taken the Game of Thrones book and tried making one movie. Like, they had enough issues trying to make it into a series. But so it's like, imagine trying to take that whole season into that one movie. It's not the same. Now, if they recreate it with live action, that could be really interesting. Especially with CGI now. Might be really good. So I am kind of excited to see that one.
I'm excited.
So.
Start that again. I was yawning.
So, I've been posting shorts for a month straight. Mm-hmm. I'm at 81 subscribers now. Thank you, everybody. I basically got I averaged 1 subscriber a day after I started posting shorts. Technically, I think that average is above now. So the audience is actually growing. You guys might be new when watching this right now. If you are, I'm glad you made it this far. And impressed. But so I've finally doing that. It's been interesting. I think I do need to actually create shorts instead just clipping eventually. I need to start doing that a little bit. But it's actually helped a lot. Like, I mean, I've gained 30 subs. And for me, that's the most I've ever done in 1 month. That's twice as much as I've ever done in 1 month. And so it's like at this point, we might be on track to get 100 subscribers by the end of the first year. And so we're moving in certain directions. I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see where this goes because I want to keep doing that and keeping that running and seeing if this will help the long form stuff. Let alone I want to start posting shorts, the stuff I'm posting for shorts on Instagram, and hoping that they also grow the Instagram to then that grow following on Spotify or YouTube still. Because Instagram has been slacking. I think the last thing I posted was in like October or later. So it's been a hot minute for sure. But not only that, this month I've set you with a challenge, and myself actually, of doing 5 push-ups, burpees, and squats every day, going up by 5 till the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're on 25. And how you feeling so far?
So far, all right.
Yeah.
Granted, I had to make up a few days.
Technically, I did too.
On some of the stuff, but so far, not bad. But the problem is, I don't remember if I told you this or not. On our last day that we have to do 150.
Yeah.
Will be the day I come home for a concert, and I will be at someone else's house meeting their parents for the first time, having to finish that 150 of all of those things.
Yeah. Well,
so
I thought oh yeah,
because we'll be leaving that like morning, so I'll be there all day and have to finish it at their house, meeting them for the first time.
Go for a walk in the park.
I don't know where they live. I don't know where to go.
Look for a park. Drive off.
Because that's awkward. Let me just do 150 burpees and push-ups in the park.
It's better than their house.
I'd be okay with the squats, but I don't want to do push-ups and burpees in front of them.
Yeah. No, you got a point. And I was going to originally try adding other shit. Like, I was like, ooh, maybe myself, I'll also do the same things for forwards and backwards lunges. Mm-hmm. Or I was even thinking doing sit-ups or planks and adding, like, I can't remember what I was going to do. I think I was going to do, like, 10, 15 seconds a day added onto a plank, starting at 1 minute. So by the end, I'd have to do like 6.5 minutes of planking on the last day. But I mean, if I set that into 3 segments, that'd be fine. Or even 2. At that point, probably okay. Mm-hmm. Especially after doing it for a month. But me already doing the squats with a 40-pound weight vest instead of just body weight, and getting back into the gym, actually going 7 days a week, which is the first time I've actually been doing
I'll be
this.
getting back in the gym when I go back, but I'm not going 7 days a week. I'm going 4.
Well, this is the first time I've ever actually done it consistently. I said I was going to do 7 days a week and do that split
ago.
For like 3 months, and I never did it. I could never get my ass into the gym on the weekends because I was just so unused to it. We're now starting back into the gym. I made sure I went in on the weekends. And it's really not that bad. I actually kind of enjoy it.
It's a lot. Oh, excuse me. At least at at the campus gym on the weekends, it's dead. Like, you go in there
Depends on the time.
Even on campus on Fridays, there's no one.
Yeah.
Like, I don't go at night because it's real busy at night. So I fit it into, like, I go in the afternoon or, like, morning in between shit. And on Fridays, I go in the morning at, like, 10 a.m. and there's no one to be seen.
Well, between that now, getting back into the gym and trying to go 7 days a week, using this Carbon app, which is like a diet coach. So it actually gets an estimate on maybe how active you are. But it, like, is like, all right, these are the macros and calories you got to hit. So you're actually losing or gaining weight properly, where it's only like a pound and a half. Like, the max they want is like a pound and a half a week. So you don't lose muscle mass. Because if you cut too much, part of that weight is muscle, and it's a lot harder to put muscle back on. So especially if you cut improperly. So right now it's like I'm like 3 weeks in, and it's trying to analyze shit better to see like, all right, where do we need to put it so he's actually losing that 1.5 pounds. The shit I've done the past 2 days when it comes to calories hasn't helped that calculation, because I got to do my check-in today. But like I'm starting to do that again, and like by the end of the summer, I hope to be sitting a lot better. Like, I'll be honest, right now the goal I have set on that is 170. That'll be the lowest I've ever been. And if I could get to that, and if I cut properly at that rate and hold the muscle mass I have now, or even still put a little bit on, I'll be sitting pretty good. I'm thinking if I'm starting now and it takes me a minute to really get into it, and I keep working out like I'm doing, and I follow that, let's even say by May, I'll probably be in pretty good shape. Because, if you do that calculation, that means by May, that'd be 12. I would have lost like 15 pounds. If that's right. Which right now is still trying to figure it out. I've been like almost maintaining or barely losing. But also when I first weighed in that first day, it was at the end of the day, and I did not eat a little bit that day. So it really threw off my numbers. So it's getting there, but I want to actually cut properly.
Are you still wanting to do this 75 hard in the summer?
I think so. Do you? I know you don't want to, but will you?
Possibly.
Because I kind of like the challenged side of things. Because I think the challenge...
I think obviously, you've been in the gym a lot longer than I have.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be easy.
But I think the main challenge is I will be coming from school straight here to having two jobs.
And working out twice a day.
Yeah. So the sleep schedule is going to be fucked. Like, I already know the only way that I can do 75 hard is I'm going to have to be up at like 4:30 every morning and going to the gym, because Adam leaves to go to work at 7. And if I want my 10-hour shifts, I have to be at work by 7:30.
I don't know if your sleep schedule will be completely fucked, but you'll have to figure something out, because I think, honestly, in the 75 hard, sleep's part of the acquired thing. But
I don't even know what this shit is acquired.
I know, I can't remember either exactly, but...
It's like read 10 pages a day, drink a gallon of water, which that for sure I'm not going to be able to do that.
You have to, otherwise you're not doing it.
Well, I think I'm going to make modifications for myself.
No, that's
people do that all the time.
Not for that. That's
yes, they do.
No, they don't. And
yes,
if so, they're not doing 75 hard then. That's like saying, I'm going on a diet, but instead of cutting out all the stuff I shouldn't eat, like I'm still going to eat donuts every day. What?
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's
you can modify it a little bit.
Not for a challenge like that. That's like what we're doing now, like you doing modified push-ups, that counts, because it's
there's
still doing
a lot
push-ups.
of people that modify the 75 hard and call it something different, and just like remove one workout or change the instead of 45 do it to 30, or instead of a gallon do it to 64.
But I know, but that just makes it easier. It's like for water, out of all things, to modify.
I can barely drink one of these a day. You're telling me I'm gonna have to drink how many of these? I can't do math. 5 of these to get a gallon?
Yeah.
I could never.
Bailey, I do 5 of these most of the time, especially on
I would literally be in the bathroom all the time.
Yeah, you do. You pee. You're supposed to pee.
Not all the damn time.
Yes, when you drink water, you do. We ain't doing road trips. I don't got
time for that. It's a lot harder for a girl. Like, the more times that a girl would have to go pee compared to a guy that can just stand there, the girl has to sit down and the girl has to wipe. And you pee for 5 fucking minutes straight because of it.
Nah.
Whatever.
That's, out of everything you want to modify, the water consumption is not the one you in particular should change. You don't drink enough water as it is. Especially if you start working out twice a day. you'll need the fucking water. But I'm just saying in general, I think, honestly, the hardest thing is finding the time for you to work out. But I think that's the whole point is you, at least for that set time period.
The other one's going to have to be like either... It's going to have to be
and it has to be, you have to have one outside.
That's what it's going to have to be. My second one will always have to be a walk outside.
Mine would probably be a run.
But then, like, the thing is, like, on the days that I would work both jobs, I would have to find time in between, or because there's no after. I'll be out walking at midnight.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But it's not that bad. All right. Do you want to...
I wish we had a treadmill. Not really. I get sick on treadmills. I don't know.
Yeah, why would you say that?
Just, like, on days, what if it fucking rains?
You still run. That's the
and
whole point.
Pouring down rain.
Yes. That's literally the whole point of this challenge. You were just as bad as Freddie where you're like, I can't count my calories. I can't do that.
I hate getting wet in the rain.
The whole point is putting yourself in discomfort.
I'll walk in place for an hour.
No. You have to be outside for one
I'll
workout.
walk in the garage. That's being outside.
That's not outside.
The door's
That's in
open.
a building.
I'm walking out there.
That's the whole point of the challenge is to put yourself in shitty situations.
Okay, whatever.
Like
whatever, Einstein.
If David Goggins was here, he would call you a pussy right to your face right now.
I don't give a shit.
Dude, how dare you? David Goggins is awesome. He scares me, but he's awesome. That's the whole point of the challenge. That's one reason why I want to do it, is so that it's like, okay, like for this 75 days, this is what I'm doing. No ifs, ands, buts, or about it.
That's also my entire break.
Not all. But it's literally, like this.
Yes, it is.
This is the challenge. Like, it's like, yeah, of course I don't want to fucking go around in the rain at night. It's 45 minutes. Like, it's now. And I got to. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to be doing the same thing after the 75 days. I'm not going to go do that. But being able to force yourself to do it for that time period is part of the exercise, is mental fortitude. Like, would you be able to get in the shower right now and crank it down to as low as it would go?
No. I can get close.
You could, but you're saying you can't.
Not to the... No.
That's part of the issue. Like, that's what it is. It's like, I don't want to when I get up in the morning to do that. Like, I still need to actually get a tub or something to do an actual plunge. And even if it's just straight well water and I don't have ice in the mornings, it's still going to be cold as fuck first thing in the morning to go hop in there for 3 minutes.
Just get a cattle trough. That's what a lot of people do.
It didn't even say what the fuck it was going to be in. I'm just saying doing that in general. Because obviously it's not fucking icy here, even though it's fucking winter. But it's like that would be cold enough that, like, that's the whole point, is you're not doing it. Or what? That you're doing it even though you don't want to. It's like most people, like, I wouldn't say I want to go to the gym 7 days a week. But I'm going to the gym 7 days a week. Most people, that's the whole point of it, is doing the shit you don't want to do. It's like you're missing it. You got to read, like, some books. We got to get some extra knowledge and wisdom shoved in that head over there. No? Besides accounting.
Okay.
So do you want to pull some cards? You want to start us off? Or I can.
Did you grow up in a family that encouraged you to take risks? Explain.
Fuck, I've done this one before.
Do I need to pull another one?
Sorta. Yes and no. Oh, I'm answering it.
Okay, well.
Not really. I think in specific categories, but not necessarily anything that's super useful. Like taking risks of doing showmanship, but not like something I'm really into. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Did you kind of agree to that?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you and your family close? Why or why not?
I don't know. I would say no. I don't know how to explain it. I don't necessarily think there's a reason, like something happened that I'm like, ugh. But I don't have that, not attachment. I don't know.
You and me are close. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not really close to the rest of my family. Like,
yeah, me more than you.
They aggravate me. I don't know. It's hard to be around them sometimes.
All right.
How would those closest to you describe you?
I don't know. Loud, Aryan, chaotic but fun.
Okay.
I don't know. Kind.
Okay. You have any more?
I don't know. No, maybe. You tell me.
The question was for you.
No, I don't think so. All right. If someone hurt me the way you have been hurt before, what advice would you give me? Have you been hurt before?
I mean, yeah, but everybody's hurt's different.
Okay, what advice?
That's a deep question. Don't let the people that say those negative things to you take your spark or your sunshine away.
Okay, not the words I would have used, but gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
How has your religious views changed over the years?
Oh shit!
Didn't you tell me you already done this one?
No, but it's such a deep question. I mean, they've changed. I definitely grew up super Christian and very, like, conservative Christian, I would say. Like, in the sense of, like no sex before marriage, like, all this other shit. And
that was, like, one side. The other side didn't really
still
preach
there.
that.
But, like, one side was Catholic, one side was more just, like, Baptist, generic Christian. I would say. And I don't know, like, I'm not necessarily not Christian, but I just don't look at it the same. Like, it's really changed. I think in general, I don't think anybody knows the answer. And so it's not that I don't believe in the Christian view. I think in general, it's probably I think in general, religion is always there. It doesn't matter what side there is. And I think it's very important to society, but I don't know if I could necessarily say, like, I completely follow the Christian belief anymore. Like, I think it's a very more broad thing of, like, morals, teachings, lessons, that yes, there's some higher power, but no one knows the answer. It's like no one can explain that, so I can't necessarily say that, like, reading either the Quran or, like, some Buddhist text, or, like, whatever they say is correct. Like, I don't think anybody knows. So I think it's very, like, a broad thing. But I'm not saying, like, at this point, like, Jesus being a person is, like, a historical fact of some account. But so it's like, I don't know, like, I don't follow it as strict, but I do fall into it as, like, a very broad, like, Christian religion. Like, but I just don't look at it quite the same way. Like, I'm not like, read the scripture, take it as concrete. I think there is lessons and teachings, but I don't see it as necessarily, like, full knowledge and truth of what it's written. I think most people do, and I think that's part of the issue, because most of the Bible is written in metaphor, so it's not supposed to be taken literally. Where I feel like majority of, especially, like, American Christians take that view of things, and that's where you get, like, the like the hatred and the extreme side of Christianity, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that, because I think like that's very hypocritical of what Christianity is supposed to be. So that's why I don't necessarily like fall in line, because it's just like, I don't know. I think it's more complex than just read this and be saved and whatever, and like take this as like full value, when most people are hypocritical. I'm not saying I'm not, but most Christians definitely do not follow Christian values. So that's why like I don't like religion.
That's why a lot of people don't like them.
I don't like religion as an institution. I love it as a characteristic of like humanity, like that side of things. I think it's like something that's always been there with people in general, like something spiritual like within us. There's always been like that inkling, but the institutionalization of religion, that's what I hate.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't go to church. That's why I don't choose to fall under a denomination. It's just been so, I feel like, gone away from its origins. Very complex question. It really is. What's something your family did that didn't make sense to you back then, but is now something you appreciate?
I have no idea.
Divorce?
I mean, yeah, that could be one.
You're like, ah! Like, I would say that, because I mean, out of any
obviously
major
we were
decisions,
young, so it was a lot different. Like,
yeah,
but it shaped us into like
us.
Like, it made us who we are.
Exactly. So
A divorce has a strong impact on your children.
no shit.
I feel like some people just still don't understand how big of an impact divorce really does have on people.
No.
Especially when there's children involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't necessarily think divorce is bad. It's just when you bring in children, you got to realize the overall consequences aren't as simple as just we're not together.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it.
Yes. You have 2 left. I only have 1 left.
I know. I accidentally had 5 somehow.
Okay. This says, what's your moonshot? A dream that's too big that it scares you. A dream that's so big that it scares you.
That scares me? Probably originally, and maybe still, but like I don't think it's something I'd necessarily like fully shoot for. I think it's something I'd do more part-time now, or work on, is going full-time into YouTube. Like, if that was, like, if I was a full-time creator, don't know how the fuck I'd do it, but I feel like that. And that's probably the thing that's stuck with me the most that I could point towards. Out of your entire family, whose death would affect you the most and why? I'm not making these up. They're on the cards.
Wow. Well, it'd for sure be you.
Should I be happy right now?
I think so.
I don't know.
I don't know. Because it's like your sibling, especially, like...
Give me a reason.
They're your built-in best friend. Like, at least
that's
how...
us.
That's
us.
I feel like a lot of siblings are like that. But, like, our relationship is a lot different.
We got lucky.
So, like... He literally is my best friend, and he's the only one that I think I've told pretty much everything about myself to. So, I would for sure say that's him.
All right. Fair enough. Are you happy with who you are today?
No.
Why?
I think I could... I don't know. I think I have a lot more potential.
Fair. You are only 18.
True.
You're not happy where you've gotten so far?
I mean, yes, but like, I wish I would have like gotten there a different way.
I think that's everybody. Honestly, I could say the same to that question. I think I'm not upset with where I am, but at the same time, I wish there was more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's just most people, especially our age.
Our age, yeah.
Now, if you talk to us at 40, it might be a completely different story.
It might be the same.
I hope not. I hope not. But, all right. Well, I think that will honestly do us for this week. I am glad that you came on. Literally last week's episode, I literally said, I'm never stating when a guest is going to be on anymore because it never happens. So I'm just not going to say a word in any podcast beforehand. And if there's someone next week, there's someone next week. And that's what we're doing now.
Well, thanks for having me.
Of course. I know I bugged you, but I'm glad you came on. And it was fun. And we talked about a lot. So I think this will be a good episode. I hope you guys do enjoy. If you do, please consider like and subscribing. And I'll see you guys all next week. Thanks again, by the way. Peace out, everybody.